Hello and welcome to another episode of the Elly Twineyo Show. This is the place where we bring you ideas that matter so that you can understand these issues. You decide on your own and you move on. Every week and every time we'll be bringing you issues of what I call the knowledge pillars of development insights, exporting basics, family businesses, and the society. Today we are continuing with exporting basics. And we are looking at why countries should be interested in exports. Every time you hear people talking about exporting, they refer to countries. The truth is that countries trade and companies do business. This should be understood. Countries trade, companies do business. But usually we say countries trade, and when we say countries trade, we refer to import and exports. Imports and exports. But our concern now is on exports and why countries should be concerned with exports. One, foreign exchange. All countries need foreign exchange. The best way to get foreign exchange is not to beg for it through foreign aid, but to work for it by exporting. We can also get foreign exchange, of course, by bringing in investors from abroad, what we normally call foreign direct investments. We can also bring in foreign exchange by tourism, by bringing in tourists to visit our country and leave money. We can also bring in a foreign exchange through what we call remittances. Your brothers and sisters, my brothers and sisters in different countries go abroad, they make money, and when it comes in the country, we call it remittances. Countries export because some countries produce what they cannot consume and consume what they cannot produce. This is a big phenomenon globally. Countries producing what they don't consume and consuming what they don't produce. So then they have to export what they produce. We have many examples. Most African countries, for example, they produce a lot of agricultural products that they export. Sometimes some of the products that they export, they don't consume them. Example is coffee. African countries that produce coffee mainly export the coffee abroad. Those countries are not mainly coffee consumers, except Ethiopia. So this is an example that we look at. You find you produce a product, but you don't well consume it, and you have to sell it, and then you import what you don't produce because you have to consume it. The other aspect is that there is what we call in international trade the principle of comparative advantage, which also talks about the issues of specialization. Countries specialize in those products they can produce suitably well without incurring high costs. And they can export these products to other places and buy those products that they consume from other places. So specialization. Japan, for example, is well known globally for its focus on cars. Very well. But Saudi Arabia is well known for oil. Brazil is very well known for sports, mainly soccer. They export sportsmen to different places. Did you know that Brazil is the world's leading producer and exporter of coffee? But we know it more for exporting soccer players. So that is specialization. And it is important. We know the USA, but also Korea recently, they have become, have specialized in technology, in IT, especially related to with the electronics, related with the computer, related with the phones. One of the world's well-known phones is now iPhone. It comes from America. But also we know Samsung, which is the competitor of iPhone. It comes from Korea. So specialization is important for countries, and countries export because of specialization, but mainly what we say in international trade, the principle of comparative advantage. But countries also export because they need to create jobs at home. So when more companies export and we get more sales abroad, we create jobs at home. Governments realize more jobs at home. And this is important because the more jobs you have at home, the more household incomes you have, because then people can earn a living, people can get an income. As you know, especially in developing countries, most people depend on their salary and wages. Some people sometimes have no other source of income except their salaries and wages. So creating jobs is very important in this regard. There is another aspect, government revenue. Countries export. Countries do export to get revenue. I know very well that most countries have discouraged and putting out of taxing exports. But we know very well that countries still tax some exports, especially those to do with minerals, but also products from forests and the natural resources. They are taxed to discourage them, especially from being exported in their raw form without value addition. But when they do this, governments do get money, of course, which they can use for development, they can use for infrastructure, like roads, like railways, like power stations, but also they can use for health facilities, but also for education, to educate our children in different parts of the world. So that is also important for us, and countries do export basically for this. Let me say this, that also it is important that countries, when they are engaged in international trade, there is also an element of peace and stability at home in different ways. One, when I am selling to you products, you don't want to kill me, because when you kill me and I'm the owner and producing for you, then who will produce for you? So normally, clients, you cannot fight your clients. And also, you cannot fight producers. And therefore, countries are engaging in a bilateral cooperation for trade, but also for political purposes and ultimately for development. And this is always ignored when we talk about exporting. Yeah, countries deliberately engage in bilateral cooperation for trade, for development, and for political purposes. And this brings these two countries together which are doing trade. That's why you see most countries engaging in bilateral cooperation, especially bilateral trade cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen who are listening to me in different places, this show comes out every Friday, and in this show all the time we want you to watch it because we bring you ideas, we discuss ideas on issues which are paramount to development.